Hey YouTube, welcome back to Tinker with Tools. Today we are going to be talking about a lawnmower that is going to hopefully save me a ton of time this summer. So let's go ahead and get into that on Tinker with Tools. Now if you're anything like me, you do appreciate a nice freshly cut lawn, but with my kids getting older and more involved in different activities, it has become harder and harder to find time to mow the lawn and to give it the attention that I feel like it deserves. So when Mammotion reached out to me and offered me the opportunity to review one of their robot lawnmowers, I jumped at the opportunity to see if this would be a good fit for me. Now in full disclosure, they did send me the lawnmower free of charge, and while I do get to keep the lawnmower after the review, the opinions are still going to be mine, and I will talk about both the good and the bad, if any. I do appreciate Mammotion supporting the channel, so let's go ahead and talk about the lawnmower they sent over. Now the specific model that they sent me is going to be the Luba Mini all-wheel drive, and specifically the 1500H variant. Now they do offer two distinct models, the 800 and the 1500, and the overall difference between those is just how much of a lawn they can tackle and still be expected to be able to get the job done. Now I did mention that it was the H variant. They offer also an S and an H variant in each of those different models. And the S variant is going to be for grass that is maintained at a shorter length than what it is traditionally done in my area. The H variant will go all the way up from 2.2 inches up to 4 inches. I think traditionally I like to keep mine between 3 and 3.5, and so this certainly has the capability to be able to cut what I do. Now, as I mentioned, it is the Luba Mini all-wheel drive, and what I mean by that is all four wheels are going to be able to drive the mower, and so even if it gets into an area where one wheel is slightly off the ground because of an obstacle, it still can go ahead and get over it. With that all-wheel drive though, one of the big claims to fame of this model is that it is capable of going up an 80% slope, which is roughly a 40-degree incline. So with my new yard, I don't have anything nearly that severe, so it's nice knowing that the lawnmower will be able to handle that slope easily within what it's rated. And with some lawnmowers, you do have to set up a perimeter wire. That is not the case with the Luba Mini all-wheel drive. Instead, it offers its UltraSense vision module and its RTK navigation, which is going to allow it to get around your yard. In really simple terms, it allows the mower to see and know exactly where it is at all times and be able to navigate around the yard. And while you're definitely going to set up a perimeter or area where it is going to mow, the vision module is going to allow it to see obstacles in its path and simply avoid them and continue on with the job. But it's nice to know that it's not going to get stuck and just get stopped in the middle of it if I forget to pick something up off the yard. Now, the last key feature that I did want to talk about with this lawnmower is if you've ever seen a robot vacuum work, sometimes it seems that they just wander aimlessly around your house. And while they do a decent job with a lawn, I definitely want to be able to see kind of nice, clean lines. That's the nice thing about the Luba Mini all-wheel drive is you are able to completely customize how this lawnmower mows your lawn. Now the lawnmower itself is rated to be able to do up to 180 minutes of mowing. If it does get in the middle of a task and runs too low on battery, it will simply return to its base station, recharge, and then resume the task when it's done. All right, so now with all the key features out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the experience of using the lawnmower for the first time. Now I unboxed it here at my house in my studio and was able to get the lawnmower out and pretty much completely set up in a matter of about 20 minutes. The only thing you have to attach to the mower is going to be the vision module, which just goes on with 4 captive screws and is really easy to attach to it. Once that is on there, you just need to put it onto the base station and get it charged up. And then basically, once that is done, you are ready to mow. Now, the first lawn I chose to go to was going to be my dad's lawn. When I arrived at his house, I was able to get the lawnmower set up and running within about 20 minutes time. The two things you have to set up is the base station where it's going to charge, and then the RTK navigation system. I chose to place it down on the ground because once again, I'm at my dad's house. This is not going to be a permanent installation. Now, when you get the lawnmower charged up and it's ready to go and you're ready to mow, you do have 2 options for doing your initial zone mapping. Now, I chose to do the auto mapping first, and for the most part, when I did a couple of different zones, it actually did a pretty good job staying where it was. I will say there was one area at my dad's house where there was about a 4-inch drop from the grass level down to where the flower bed was. And in that area, the lawnmower kept trying to go over the edge before it would realize what it had done and kind of correct itself. Kept leaving marks in the flower bed, and so I didn't really appreciate that. But in another yard that I tried it out in that had cement curbing, it was able to go right up to the curb and kind of stay where it was supposed to do, and did a really good job mapping the yard. For that area with those flower beds that I'm talking about, I actually chose to try and map the lawn myself using kind of the manual mapping mode. And initially I was worried that it was going to be incredibly difficult to kind of keep the lawnmower going where I want it to, but I actually found it to be pretty natural and intuitive. And if I'm being completely honest, I actually like the manual mapping mode pretty well because it was able to do a really good job and I was able to tell it exactly what I wanted it to mow. Now that also includes being able to map out no-go zones. So with this part of the yard, I had actually done the auto mapping, but then I needed to tell it to not try and mow where this fire pit was, and I was easily able to set up an area where it was not supposed to mow, follow it exactly around, and it actually did a pretty good job. All right, now let's talk about cut quality and kind of what I experienced with that first time. What I did notice is the first time it makes its way over the lawn, it does a pretty good job cutting, but there definitely were some areas that probably needed a second pass over it. What I will say with this lawnmower is you're going to really see the best cut quality in that aggregate of multiple times going over the same zone. And that's where you're really going to start to see some benefit of being able to send this lawnmower out on a schedule and even mow more frequently than what you would with a traditional lawnmower because you're not the one that's having to go out and do it. One of the areas where it did not fare too well was I did have a patch of lawn that was a little bit matted down, and because the mower is a little bit smaller, the blades are smaller, they don't have as much mass spinning around as a traditional lawnmower, it just doesn't create a lot of suction to kind of suck the grass up into the blade path and have it cut that way. And so with an area that was matted down a little bit, it really just didn't cut it much, if anything. Now they do tout that it is able to get right up to the edge and is going to offer you an edge-free lawn where you're not going to have to go around. And unfortunately, I did not find that really to be the case. It does a pretty good job getting within about 5 centimeters of the edge of what you're trying to cut with. But for me, it still leaves an area that I need to go around with a string trimmer and an edger to kind of clean things up and get it looking really nice. In areas where it was actually able to overlap the edge a little bit, like on a sidewalk, it actually does a pretty good job at kind of cutting right over to the edge of that. And so your mileage just may vary depending on what type of yard you have and what sort of obstacles you're going to be mowing up next to. Now let's go ahead and talk about some of the problems that I did experience when using this. And right up front, I'm going to say that while I did experience several different problems with the lawnmower, after having resolved them, I do believe that most of them were of my own creation to some degree. What I mean by that is you do face some choices in how you set up this lawnmower. They tell you that the RTK navigation system should be best mounted in a really open area, and even better if you can put it up on your rooftop so it has a clear view of the sky. Now, as I mentioned, when I did set this up at my dad's house and even later at my father-in-law's house, these were not permanent installations, and so I wasn't really looking to actually attach it to their house. And so I did face some initial connectivity problems at that house. And to be honest with you, they were rather frustrating because I couldn't get them to kind of resolve themselves. However, when I did switch to another lawn, went to my father-in-law's where it was a bit more open, I did go ahead and find that I actually had no connectivity issues. And so once again, I feel like that was more of my own creation. Now I did reach out to their customer support, and while they did get back to me with helpful information, it definitely wasn't the most timely response on some of those attempts to get in touch with them. What I will say is if you do want the most help possible, go ahead and submit logs through the app that is going to actually transmit information from the mower itself to the support team and describe to them exactly what you're experiencing, and even include photos and videos if possible. And when I was able to do that, I actually got a significantly improved response. Doing that ultimately led to me solving the problems that I was having. Now, obviously, price is a concern here, and this is not a cheap machine. When you compare to maybe a $500 or $600 traditional lawnmower, the 800 model goes for $1,599, and the 1500 model, like what I have, goes for $2,000. What I will say about that is if you start to consider it as an alternative to paying someone to come and mow your lawn, I think that's where the price starts to make a little bit more sense. In my area, for the size of lawn that I have, to come around weekly, they might charge me as much as $80 to $100 a week to get professional lawn services out here to take care of my yard. And while they are certainly going to handle everything, over the course of my mowing season of anywhere between 4 and 6 months, that starts to add up over time. So overall, my experience with the Mammotion has had some ups and downs, but ultimately I'm pretty positive about the lawnmower right now, and I'm excited to see how it works over the course of an entire summer. If you have any questions about the lawnmower, I'm going to be sure to have links down below to Mammotion's website so you can check out everything they have to offer. I'll be sure to have links where you can purchase either the 800 or the 1500 model and each of the accessories that I've actually received and been using here today, and you'll be able to see each of those and kind of how they stack up. Now, in addition to that, Mammotion also does offer other lawnmowers, and they even now have a model that is able to sweep the yard as well and pick up the grass clippings. Now, if you like this sort of video, go ahead and hit that like button. Any questions you have, leave them down below and I'll be sure to get them answered. And as always, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and turn on notifications so you get notified when I put out a new video. As always, thank you for your continued support. Thank you to Mammotion for providing the lawnmower for this video. And until next time, I will catch you on Tinker with Tools.